Hi, everybody. Well, it's Karen, and I'm here with a story from Stories That Never Grow Old. This story today is called Why the Bear Has a Stumpy Tail. Bruin, the young brown bear, was feeling very hungry. The earth was hard with frost, so he could not dig up any roots. The day before, he had finished the honey he had found in a hollow tree. Oh dear, he grumbled to himself as he walked along the shore of a little lake. I wish I could catch some fish. Just then, who should come along but Reynard the fox. He looked happy and well-fed, and in his mouth he carried a string of fresh fish. Look here. Here's Reynard with his fresh fish. And there's little Bruin, the little bear who's so hungry. Good day, Mr. Fox, said the young bear. That's a fine string of fish you have. Can you tell me where you caught them? The truth was that the sly old fox had stolen his fish from the market, but he did not want to tell the bear that. It is very easy, he said. The lake is frozen. All you need to do is take a heavy stone out to the middle and drop it. It will break through and leave a hole in the ice. Put your long tail through the hole and wait until the fish bite it. Shall I wave my tail? Asked the bear. Oh, no, replied the fox. That would frighten the fish. You must sit very still and don't get impatient. The longer you wait, the more fish you will catch. When the sun begins to go down behind the hill at the end of the lake, jerk your tail out hard. Give it a swing at the same time. Be sure to move quickly so that the fish won't have time to let go. With a fine long tail like yours, you ought to catch more fish than I have. Oh, thank you, Mr. Fox, said the bear. He trotted around until he found a large stone which he carried out to the middle of the lake. There he dropped it, and just as the fox had said, it broke the ice. The young bear dropped his long, fluffy tail through the hole and sat down to wait. After a while, his tail began to sting. That must be the fish biting, he thought. But it was just the cold, for there were no fish in the little lake, as the fox very well knew. I'd like to jerk my tail out and see if I've caught any fish, said the bear to himself. But Mr. Fox said to wait until the sun was sinking behind the hill. So he sat and he sat until the sun began to go down. You see, here he is, sitting, trying to be patient, feeling his tail stinging, and wishing he could take it out and see the fish. Night will soon be here, he said to himself. Now, what was it that Mr. Fox told me to do? Jerk it out hard and give it a swing to the side. That was what he said. So the bear gave a hard jerk and a swing to the side, but the tail was frozen in the ice and broke off short. Where are the fish? Thought the bear, turning around and around. But turn as he would, there was not a fish to be seen. And there, in the ice, was his long tail, frozen hard. I must have misunderstood Mr. Fox's directions, he said sadly to himself. I'll go and ask him to repeat them. But Now that I have only a stump for a tail, I couldn't catch any fish with it. When he reached the shore, there was no sign of the fox, who was safe at home making his supper of the stolen fish. Just then, the bear's mother came loping out of the forest. You see, here she is, coming out.
"Where have you been?" she growled. "I have been looking all over for you. Winter has come. Everything is frozen up hard. We should be asleep in a nice warm cave. Come along now. I've found a cave where the wind can't reach us, and we can sleep there until spring comes again."
"But I'm hungry," said the young bear. "I can't go to sleep until I've had something to eat."
Just then his mother noticed his tail. "Whatever happened to your beautiful tail?" she growled.
"I left it in the ice," said the young bear. Then he told his mother what the fox had told him. I must have misunderstood him," he said, "for I didn't catch a single fish."
"You didn't misunderstand him," his mother replied. "Mr. Fox is not to be trusted. He doesn't mind deceiving anyone, and he loves to get others into trouble."
The young bear felt very sad. He had sat all day on the ice and had lost his beautiful tail, and he had nothing to eat after all.
"Never mind," said his mother, seeing how bad he felt. "A bear hasn't much use for a long tail anyhow. Probably you'll be more comfortable with it the way it is. Come along. There's a tree full of honey just outside the cave I have picked out for our winter sleep." Down the forest path she loped, and the young bear followed. You see, here he is, mother going to the cave, and the young bear looking back, noticing his tail is short now. Soon he had eaten all the honey he could. Then he curled himself up in the nice, cozy cave where the wind couldn't reach him, and slept until spring came again. But ever since that time, every bear has a stumpy tail. Well, that's a fable, of course. It's a story made up to explain the way things are. You ever run into someone that wanted to play tricks on you? Sometimes you can think of a way to play a trick back. That's what this story is. The Fox and the Stork. Reynard the fox liked to play tricks on all his animal and bird friends. One day, he invited Longlegs the stork to dinner. When his guest arrived, Reynard led the way to the table. He had prepared a good, thick soup which he knew Longlegs liked better than anything else. But to play a joke on the stork, the fox had served it in a low, flat dish. You see here? There's Reynard sitting proudly, and there's the stork with the flat plate of soup. "Eat, my friends," said Reynard with his long red tongue. He lapped up the soup. But poor Longlegs with his long bill could only get a few drops of the good soup, so he went home hungrier than when he came. Not long afterward, he invited Master Reynard to dine with him. When the fox reached the stork's home, Longlegs led the way to the dinner table. Now, instead of being served in a low, flat dish, the soup was served in a tall jar. "Eat, my friend," invited Longlegs, and put his long bill down into the delicious soup. But Reynard could not get even the tip of his nose into the small mouth of the jar. He had to be satisfied with a few drops that fell outside. So he went home hungrier than when he came. But he remembered the trick he had played on the stork, and he had to admit that for once he had met his match. So sometimes you can think of a way to play the trick back. Well, that's our story for today. 2 stories about Reynard the fox. Bye.